And welcome everybody. I'm really excited that you're here. You are in the Accessibility 102 session today, and I'm Coach Maddox, the Instructional Technology Coach in the Bagwell College of Education. And I'm kind of doing this as a follow-up to Accessibility 101. I went through and did that session, and several faculty that attended that session said, hey, can you take your session and kind of chunk those videos up so that we can have them and embed them in our course? And so I thought, you know what? That's a great idea. So I've been working really hard on getting that together. And I'm going to go ahead and share my desktop, and we'll just start rolling with this to see kind of where we are. So here, let me move this out of the way a second. All right. First, before I go there, though, I want to talk to you about why it's important to consider accessibility. And a lot of you probably heard about Universal Design for Learning. It's a research-based set of principles that guide the design of learning environments that are accessible and effective for all. Much like you would design a building, before they used to not think about ramps and access and that kind of thing. Now they do. And so they say if you actually design for what they call the outliers, those that might need those services, that you actually have a better built and better designed, building. And in the same way, if we think about that with learning and teaching, that if we can design and have kind of a foundation set, then that'll help support all learners. So let me hop over to the Universal Design for Learning guidelines. And I don't know if all of you've seen these or not, but the guidelines, again, can be used to design learning experiences that will support all learners. And there are three principles under the foundation or the framework. You have provide multiple means of engagement, provide multiple means of representation, and provide multiple means of action and expression. Now, you've heard about that, maybe personalized learning, and a lot of those, differentiation, you can basically take UDL and kind of morph it into that. And I think a lot of those same frameworks have kind of built around the UDL model. But if you look at the framework here, you'll notice that there's three different sections, right? And I just talked about those. And then on the left, you have tabs, and it goes from lowest to highest. So access is the lowest, the kind of the base of where you are, as far as, like, say, the middle column representation. And as you work down the framework, the bottom line is goal, and that's where you want to hit mastery. That's kind of your goal. So let's look at access in the middle under perception. It says offer ways of customizing the display of information, offer alternatives for auditory information, offer alternatives for visual information. And when you think about that, that's where accessibility tools come into play. And, that's why they're so important, to be able to support all learners. If you have that as a foundation, and I think of teachers, I really worked when I was in K-12. A lot of times teachers think, oh, they have an IEP, so I have to make an accommodation. No, that's really not what, I don't think that that's really the way we need to think about it. I think if we have this as a foundation, that students know about accessibility, and believe it or not, we all use accessibility, right? We use Siri, we use Alexa, hey, I want to, Google Maps. I can call somebody on my phone without touching it. All of those are accessibility features that we use right now. Well, we have even more that are available that could help students, IEP or not. And that's really the focus of today, is making those available, and hopefully for your candidates, as they learn about these, and hopefully you share these as well as we do in the iTech course, that they, once they hit the classroom, that they'll really be able to support, the students that they're working with. So I want to play something for you very quickly. It's just a little short video. Here, let me maximize this too. Let me do that. And this is on accessibility in UDL.
Accessibility is one of the key foundational principles of Universal Design for Learning, and it's a component of Universal Design for Learning, but is not by itself Universal Design for Learning. We always think of the way we sometimes phrase it is that accessibility is essential, but insufficient on its own to be universal design for learning. Accessibility is really captured in the first principle of UDL, which is multiple representations of information. And from an instructional perspective, it's an old mantra of you can't reach them, you can't teach them. That information has to be accessible and presented in a variety of ways: audio, print, tactile, graphically, by video, as many possible ways as there are to make sure that people can get the information they need. Whereas UDL really expands beyond that and talks about action and expression, how people exhibit mastery, how they can express their achievement, how they can really articulate well what it is they know. And then the third principle, really thinking about engagement, how we engage learners to enforce and enhance their persistence in ways that really can support them in the face of challenges.
Okay. So when we talk about accessibility too, I've worked with some supervising teachers, and it's kind of interesting. They came back and they said, my students say that there's not any devices. They don't have access to technology. And I want to share this spreadsheet with you and just talk about this for just a couple of minutes, because when one of our students, assuming they go back into the regular school this fall, and hopefully they will, a lot of times they focus on what is readily available, what they think to them. That's all that they have available. But when you look at it from a school perspective and you look at this spreadsheet, I kind of talked about this. Okay, let's look on the left column, right? What kind of technology do you have? Well, the teacher obviously has some kind of computer. Hopefully you might be able to access. You have classroom PCs a lot of times. You might have iPads in the classroom. You might have iPads in the media center. There might be iPods available. What kind of computer labs do you have at the same time, right? And then all the different softwares that are available. So there's a lot, and you can look on that left column to see how much technology they probably have available to them. And they have a lot probably available to them that they could use to help support students. So if they need reading support, if they need, any type of support in that respect, there's probably devices somewhere that can help them get to that point. So I just put that out there because, I've heard that same mantra over and over. There's no technology, but I've worked in the schools and there's a lot of technology. So I know that it's there, and I hope that, they'll kind of shift their mindset a little bit and realize I do have a lot more available. I may have to go to the media center and I may have to find out how I can check out the iPods. Let me do that ahead of time so that when I need them, I can go ahead and have that in place. I might have to get my mentor teacher to do it, etc. So, those are the kind of things that I think that, even, when you're talking to students, that you might even share with them and talk to them about this. So let me show you what I have been working on since we met last on Accessibility 101. The Wakelet that I had started working on, I've expanded it even bigger, and this is the address. It's wakelet.com at Helen Maddox. And I'll leave that up there for just a minute so that you can copy it if you like. And what I've done is I've gone in and those videos, the large session that I did it for faculty and staff as well as our candidates. I'm doing sessions on Fridays for our candidates. And so I've kind of I've pulled pieces out, and just kind of put them together, so some may have come from the faculty staff, some may have come from the candidate sessions, but I tried to pull the very best of what I presented those days. And let me hop over to my Wakelet now. So if I go to my Wakelet, and here we go. Here's my Wakelet right here. I have accessibility. I have different categories here, and the very first one is accessibility. And if you look at the top, all right, I have different categories of collections, rather. I have screen share and recording. So being able to, share your iPad, if you have something that you want to share, you can do that. There's Siri resources. There's Apple accessibility, Google accessibility, and Microsoft accessibility. So I'll just hop on Microsoft accessibility. And when you look at this collection, at the very top, any any videos that I extracted and that I put together, kind of I chunked them. I put those at the very top of the collection. So for instance, I pulled out reading support in Office 365. And this one's probably the longest of any of them that I pulled out. This one's around 14 minutes. The rest of them are around 5 to 6 minutes. But I go over Immersive Reader, read aloud, dictate, and translate in this very first one. Here's one on Microsoft Office Lens. Here's one on the Microsoft Translator app. And then one on Microsoft Translator for the classroom. So let me hop onto this Office Lens. I'll just pull up one that is a shorter video, and it should come up in MediaSpace. And I don't know if you guys have worked with MediaSpace or not, but MediaSpace is it's a resource that's available that where you can upload videos, and then you can also have them closed captioned. They have to be 15 minutes or less. And I'm in the process, I've requested captioning on these, and they're in the process of doing that. But at the same time, once you caption them, you also have to go back and edit, and that takes a long time. So I've worked on a few of them. I still have to do some more. But anyway, this is Office Lens and Immersive Reader, and I will maximize this guy out and play it for you. I want to show you is Office Lens, and you'll see it's right up here at the very top, and it's a Microsoft product as well. And let me show you how this works. So, all right, I have a document right here. Okay, confirm. All right, there we go. Okay, so you notice that there's my document. All right, I could go in if I wanted to. I can make notes on it. I can rotate it. I could put a filter on top of it. I mean, there's a lot of things I could do to it if I wanted to. Apple Pen, or just use your finger, a stylus of some kind. I'm not going to write on it, but I could if I wanted to. I'm going to click Done. And what's great is that I can save it as a PDF if I want to. So if I need to send a document, let's just talk about personal life. I got to file my taxes, or I have some kind of form that I have to submit, and I have to put my signature on it, and then I have to convert it to a PDF. Well, with this one, you can do that. You can take your document, sign it, take a picture of it, and then save it as a PDF, all right there. And you can either put it on the iPad itself, or you can put it in your OneDrive. And then you can take that document and email it to anybody. I mean, I've used this a lot just for my own personal stuff that you have to deal with, personal business kind of things. But I also could take a document if I needed to, or a book. Let's say I take a picture of a book and I pull that in. I can go into Immersive Reader, and literally anything in print I can pull up and then pull it into Immersive Reader on this device. And again, is that unbelievable? I mean, you think about being able to do that. It's just the support, once again, that Microsoft has put out there for everybody to be able to read anything, and translate anything. It's just amazing. So it's taking just a minute for it to come up. There we go. There we go. And it works exactly the same.
Phonemic awareness. Parent handout, kindergarten. What is phonemic awareness?
All righty. So that is called Office Lens. You can also save it to, all of these different things to your photo library. So if you wanted an image, you could do that. To OneNote, to OneDrive, to Word, to PowerPoint. You can send it as an email with Outlook. And again, with Immersive Reader. Okay, so what's great about this is that if you want to share this with your students, I mean, you can absolutely do that. You can go to this share right here, and then you can do a copy, just a simple copy. All right, just do a Control-C, pop that into an email if you want to, or whatever wherever you want to share it. Put it on in D2L, etc. Or you can also do an embed, what happens when you do an embed versus a link launches out, goes to a browser. Okay, so you're opening up another program basically. When you embed it, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that in just a little bit. When you embed, when you put the embed code in your page, what happens is it actually puts, the video and it's embedded in the page. So you don't have to launch anything else. You can play it right from the page, whether it's in D2L or SoftChalk or whatever application. It could be a blog. It could be, some other program that you use or application that you use that you can embed the video in. And so when you think about that, if, you could set up a foundation, what I kind of call a foundation page. It has maybe a variety of videos. It could be some of the ones that I've shared, kind of extracted from the session that I did. I also have others, and let me hop back over here. All right, all of these, if you'll see session recording from Accessibility 101, all of these are the ones that I pulled out from the session that I did. So if you want to look at the Microsoft Translator app, you can go, just like I showed you, hop over there, get the code and put it into whatever you want to. At the same time, if you scroll down, there are other resources here that you can go to, like what is Immersive Reader? These folks are from Microsoft. This is a little bit longer video, but you could do the exact same thing. You could hop out. It'll take you to YouTube. Okay, I'm not going to play the whole thing. But let's say you watch this and you're still in Wakelet and you really like it. You can go to YouTube. All right, and there it is in YouTube.
From Microsoft. We are here today to show you a.
All righty, and I can go back to my default view. I can do the exact same thing, share, and then when I see that, I can go. Well, we looked at MediaSpace before, but with YouTube, you have a link right here, so you can copy it, or here's the embed code, and you just basically take this, you do a copy, all right, and once you copy it, then you can go back again to D2L. And or SoftChalk or wherever you want to put that code and be able to embed it. All right. Let me look at the chat real quick. How do I put that on my iPhone so I can capture documents and work on it to send others? That is the Microsoft Translate app that you have to put on your phone, Ethel. You should be able to find that in the App Store. It's in both. You can get it on Droid as well as iPhone. You should be able to get that. Without any problem. If you have any issues with it, let me know and we'll see if we can take a look at it. Let me see if we have anything else. Okay, I think we're good. All righty. So you see that there are not just, videos that I put together, but the thing that I think that is something to consider. I try to, in most of these, I talk about how they can be used in the classroom. I give real world examples of how you might use them or how it would have supported students that I've worked in the past. I'm not covering transcriptions in Kaltura, nor we did Kaltura sessions, I guess it's been some weeks back, and they're on our website that you can go back and replay. So if that's something you need to do, you can go back and look at those. So anyway, these are primarily these videos. And hopefully, you can look at it in a different perspective. You may have not ever considered doing this, but you can actually embed these in your courses, all right? Or if you're working with students and they're out in the field and they have a student that said, I can't get them to read. I'm having a hard time. Well, what kind of devices do they have? We hop back to, we go back again and we talk about the devices that they have in their classroom, all righty? And then when you find out they've got all kind of PCs, well, then you come back to my Wakelet and you say, let me take a look. I have Microsoft Accessibility. You can share my Wakelet with them. You can even go out if you want to and, copy and paste let me go back just a second. You can go back or let's say that they have Apple. They have all kind of Macs and maybe not Macs, but iPads. You have an Accessibility 101 iPad Safari reader and system settings, vision support for the iPad. You could then, if there's something specific, those you could go and view and you can copy, embed those if you want to, or just get a link, pop it in an email to them and say, here, take a look at this video and see if this helps you with, your iPad. And so they can watch that video and then be able to, support the student. At the same time, you might start considering having them include some of these things in their lesson plans, because as I said, it should be a foundation. That might be something to consider, is that they build a little library, however they want to do it, with accessibility videos, and they can use a Wakelet for that. They can have a YouTube channel. They can put them on Google Drive or their OneDrive, however they want to do it, but have those available so that not only they learn from it, but they can share it with their students. So you see, you're also supporting, well, ultimately K-12, but our students can also benefit from this. All of us can benefit from these accessibility resources and these tools. Let me go back here. Let me go back one more time. So for instance, like here's Google accessibility, and I have a Google Doc accessibility. So, somebody, if you have a Google district and students are going to be going to work there, or you're working somehow in a school that has, that primarily is a Google Classroom school, then this might be helpful to you, for you to look at it and say, hey, let me see, the accessibility in it. And at the same time, there are other individual, videos that I put out here that are made by Google. Like, for instance, Translate with Google Lens is pretty nifty. So we can go here.
What does it say? Good to know.
All right, if I like that, I can stop it. Let's say I want to share it. I could go out to, let me stop this real quick. It'll pop me out to YouTube, all right? And again, if you have a student that has a Droid, all right, let's say they have a Droid phone, and actually I think you can put that on iPhone as well, but they can install Google Lens just like they install Office Lens and do translations from signs, etc. So think about that in your classroom. What if you have an ELL student, and that could be right now. You have an ELL student and you have posters up on the walls and things like that. They could actually take an app, take a picture of it with Google Lens and translate it. I mean, it's a game changer. It's absolutely, all of these tools are game changers in the classroom. And instead of students staying behind and falling behind, they're able to use these tools just on the fly as they need them, and here's, let's see, I also have, different resources like web pages if they're not videos. There's Chromebook accessibility, and other resources that are available to you here. So just know that the very top ones, if you see session recordings from BCOE Tech Live Accessibility 1, then those very top resources are ones that I've done on that particular, subject. So if it's Google Doc accessibility, I pulled that out, and then you're able to share that out just as well as you can anything else. And hopefully this is something that, it actually was generated, this work was generated from requests by you guys, because y'all said, hey, can you do that so we can embed them in our course? And I said, absolutely. Joanne says, can Wakelet be used as a space for students to visit? It's not a collaboration space like Teams would be. It is simply, they can collaborate. They can collaborate on a space, I believe, but they can't. I'm not really quite sure what you say, students to visit. Can you explain that a little bit more, Joanne?
Yeah, I meant like, how a student can post on Padlet, for example.
Right.
If I wanted to have a place to hold videos for them to come back to and return, could Wakelet be used in that way? Because I'm just learning about Wakelet as you're using it.
Yes. So if you have videos that you want students to see, all right, just like exactly the way I have it here, these are videos that I said I want you all to be able to look at any time. I popped in and, went in and created this collection. And I'll just show you how it works, basically. If you go in, I'll edit this collection because it's already done, but you go in, and when you edit, you can go in and pick a picture. And what's really cool about that is you can edit the image. You can choose from a library. So I just put Google in there, and Google, that's what came up. They had all different pictures, and I chose that one. Or I can upload one. I can put a title, and then you go in and you basically just click on the plus sign. And when you do that, you can paste a URL, all righty? You can add text. You can find, if you have a YouTube title, Twitter, but you can do all these things. Upload a PDF, something from your Google Drive, something from OneDrive, something from Flipgrid. So it is really amazing, and it has immersive reader built into it too. So this site, I think, is so powerful, and yeah, a great way to do it. So you can also enable a copy, like right here. All right, so which I actually thought I had already done that. So when I enable copy, that means that other Wakelet users that find this page, and since I've set it to public, they can copy it, and then it can become part of their collection as well. So hopefully that answered your question.
I think so. So what you're saying is that a student could visit that page if I make it public.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you can create multiple Wakelets as well?
Yeah, you can. What I did is I created, I guess you could create multiple Wakelets, but what I've done, and I think the way it works really, is I have different collections. You know, you have collections, which is like Apple Accessibility, but then you can group them. Like I have accessibility, I have one on Teams, I have one on Maker Technologies, I have one on Nearpod. And so I organize them into groupings, and it allows you to do that.
Okay.
And let's see, do you think it's a good idea to add your Wakelet link to my syllabus? You are more than welcome to. Absolutely. And I mean, and that's the thing is if you want to include my entire Wakelet, you can. But if you wanted to go in and just pull up, have certain ones, then you can go search for those. And like I said, those that I've set to public and that you can copy, you should have a toggle at the top that says copy this collection or something like that. And then it'll add it as a collection to your Wakelet. So hopefully that makes sense. And if you have any problems trying to do that, we can, try a little bit later and get together on a little bit later. So I have for Screen Share, Apple, Microsoft, and Google, I have pulled all of the tools that I presented in that 101 session. I have pulled those out, and I have chunked them back, rather not chopped them, but chunked those into smaller videos, and you can access them that way. So do y'all have any questions at all about how you access them, or if there were any in particular that that you were interested in? Okay, I don't see anything in the chat. I'll go into again to Apple Accessibility. And yeah, so like I said, if you have, let's say for instance, you have a student out in the field that, is working with a student that has low vision. Well, do you have iPads? Yeah, well, boom, you take a copy of this, you copy this link right here. Okay, you can go out and you can actually take a copy either up here or go down to the share and then share it with your student that way. So, I think on the fly, you can support students. And if you're out is collaborating teachers, and I think we may have a collaborating teacher with us right now, as a matter of fact, that you could do the same thing with your students with this Wakelet if you wanted to. The top ones that I have done talk about working with students. So really it's more, the viewpoint is like that you're working with either our candidates or with K-12 students. So it's a little bit different than if you scroll down and you get a video on exactly how to do it. How do you use command for voice control? All right, so it's a little bit different. But that's not to say that you still might not want to share these with them. So you just, I would say look at the ones that are for my session recording and see if they would apply to your students in K-12. But at a minimum, I would go down and look at these additional video resources because they could go out there and I mean, those are usually within a minute to 2 minutes or less and can easily see how they can work with different tools out there. Okay, like this Reader View, like I was showing you before in Safari. That's really a great tool. Again, let me pop it up real fast.
When you use Speak Screen with Reader View in Safari, you can have only the important parts of a website read aloud. Here's how. On a website that has Reader View available, tap the Format Options button in the search bar. Then tap Show Reader View. With Speak Screen enabled, swipe down from the top of the screen with 2 fingers. Exploratorium Science of Gardening. Use the controller that appears to start and stop Speak Screen. Websites read aloud.
Okay. So you could go and you know, get that and send it to them. So I'm hoping that this is really, that I've curated a lot of resources, ones that are already out there, but at the same time, you know, those that I put together from the training that I did, and really you'll be able to support your students as well as teachers in the field, as well as K-12 students. I'm hoping that this will really be a nice collection for you, for, you know, all of you to work with. So let me see, do I have any other questions at this point? All righty. Okay, I don't see anything. So let me show you, let's look at how you would possibly put this into D2L. You may know how to do this. I'm still learning some things about it myself. So let's go take a look. Let's say that we want to go to this Microsoft Accessibility. And I really would like to put this reading support in Office 365 in my module, you know, one of my modules. So I click on this reading support and I can view the video, obviously, right? And we've already kind of taken a look at it. It talks about immersive reader and read aloud and dictate, etc. So what I do is I click on share. And I can go ahead and I can get the link. So go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and show you the two different ways that you can do this. All right, so let me hop over to D2L. I have a page right here, all right, and I've already popped one of, you know, I've already actually tested this out, but I pulled this up. I'm editing the file, all right, and it's just, you know, regular content page. So I'm going to show you example of inserting video link. All right, and all I have to do is just a Command V on a Mac, Control V on a PC. You have the link. So at a minimum, you can do that. You know, when I say minimum, that's fine. But what if you want to actually embed it? You want to have the video on the page. You don't want them to have to launch out of it, right? So what you need to do then is you go back and click on this embed right here, embed. After you click share, click on embed. And then this is already highlighted, so I can do a Control C again, all right? And I could also do this if I wanted to start it at a certain time and end at a certain time. So if you only wanted a certain piece out of a video, you can do that, all right? In this case, I'm not going to do that, but if you did want to do that, it would change this code once you enter these numbers. So like, let's say I wanted to do it in 1:30 to 2 minutes. I would put 130 here, 200 here. That embed code would change, and then I would copy it, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to go back over to D2L. And now what I'm going to do is, this is the insert stuff option right here. And when I click on that, there is an option right here to enter embed code. There's also an option to insert links, so I could have done it that way. But if I insert the embed code right here, I could do a Control V, and I can click next. All right. And then there's a preview, and I'm going to go ahead and click. Yep, there we go. That's what I want. And I'm going to click insert, and there we go. I've got it in the module on this page, and all I have to do at that point is just to do a save and close. So think about how easy that is. Now, you know, if you're using something like Canvas or another LMS, then they have probably an embed feature as well. And you just, if you're not sure how to do that, you can go online, and you know, that's what I learned a lot. Just go to YouTube, embed code Canvas, and you'll probably find a video on how to do it. If not, ask your technology person, and you're also welcome to get back in touch with me. I'm happy to support you if I can on that. So there. So I inserted this one right here, and it's ready to go. All right. Now, what about SoftChalk? I don't know if you all work with SoftChalk at all, but if you go into SoftChalk, you can do this create lesson in SoftChalk create. All right, let me do this. I've got to minimize this really quickly. All right. And it opens up this little window. This is SoftChalk create. All righty. And what I need to do is I have to go up. I have my cursor where I want the video. All right. And I do an insert, and I select widget. And it's like, oh, okay. So I can just say video. If I want to put a description, I can. And guess what? Same thing. I can paste it right here. There's that same, embed code, HTML. I can click OK. And you don't really see it right there. All righty. You don't necessarily see it. But if you click on preview in browser, all right, and I'll say yes. All right. If I click that, then there it is. So in SoftChalk, that's what it would look like. And it would play just like that. We're going to start with Office 365. So when we go to, and then they can, they can maximize it. They can make it full screen if they want to. And at the same time, what about, what if I want to put the link? You can do the exact same thing. You can insert the link, just a copy pretty much will do the exact same thing. And so you see how easy it is to embed or put in a link for any video that you find. But, remember, you can go back to My Wakelet and get one if you want to do one, or if you want to do more than that. You could have your own page. You could build your own page that you use from semester to semester and say, here's a foundation. This is a foundation page, and I want you to kind of go through it, pick one or however many that you think that they might want to use. Or if they're writing a lesson plan, maybe they have to go out and look at one of these and talk about a tool that they would use to embed, that they would use to support one of their students. There's a lot of different ways to think about it, but it's just to get that conversation started with them on how they need to look obviously beyond, just what are the standards, what are the objectives. We need to also figure out how can we make this content accessible? What do we need to do to make our students on a level playing field? And these tools can definitely help do that. Okay, so let me go back. I am going to, let me see if there's any other questions. I'm going to unshare my screen really quickly, if that's all right. Okay. And really, that is pretty much what I wanted to show you guys today. We're a few minutes early, which I'm actually kind of glad about that. So do you have any questions at all on any of the tools specifically? Is there anything else that, let me pop my Wakelet here. Let me get that for you. Hold on just a second. I did want to do that because that's, here we go. So you can take this. And if you want to pop that, you're welcome to put that into, you're welcome to put that into any of your courses. I'm totally fine with that. You just preview it, make sure that you're comfortable with it. But yeah, you're welcome to. So anybody have any questions or comments?
I think the resources you provided are great. So I really appreciate that you did that. So I definitely plan to use it and pass on the information as well.
I hope you will. I hope you will. Yeah, I spent a lot of time this week. And again, the closed caption has not been done on all of those videos. It takes a lot of time because you have to get in caption and then you have to go back and go through it. So it takes a lot of time. So they're still in the process of being captioned. However, I will work on that and hopefully they'll all be done at some point, hopefully in the near future. And, but yeah, they're available. That's what's great about when you put it on MediaSpace, you can share it with anybody. And we have Stream, which I love Stream because it auto captions and everything, but you can't share that outside of KSU. So I took the next step and I pulled from Stream and, chunked them and then put them up on the MediaSpace so that we could share it out. And the thing too is if, our candidates want to share one of them out for some reason, again, they can do that as well. So, yeah, but Gretchen, you're very welcome. You were actually one of the ones that I believe mentioned this and asked about it. So I'm happy that you were able to be here today, and hopefully this will be really helpful.
Definitely, I think it is good because the students hear the consistent messages from us.
Yes.
Like you give them a workshop, so we could say, oh, we know you took that workshop. Yeah. Or something that I'm putting on my website so they could see different sources. I mean, the same sources come from different kind of channels.
Yes.
So this is very helpful. Like I said, I think I'm going to choose them. And as a matter of fact, that you selected them, that's your expertise. you select them and then you put all together. So we feel it's safe. It's not something just grabbed from YouTube. So we don't have the time and the expertise review them from YouTube or other sources. You did all the work. So I'll just kind of link them to my website, to the D2L, to see, and put in the syllabus as a sources. I always put the readings and resources. So I'll put my syllabus as well as the D2L. So for them to see that's something they learn from you, or the technology class. Do you, is this information still being taught or shared in the technology class they're taking?
Well, I'll be honest with you. They share some, but I don't know that they go as in depth as I've gone with you guys. No, I don't.
Oh, no, this is very helpful. So I could remind them whatever you learn from, because that's what I always do. As I think about the technology class that you learn, the strategies, the resources you use to differentiate, for their lesson plans and all of that. Now I could even more targeted, just see, look at the coach. I mean, how, that what you Maddox, whatever you share with them, and I put in the syllabus and I put in the D2L, I'll refer to that when for them to develop the lesson plans. They have to make sure they use the resources here. It's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, that's the thing. You might give them a scenario. You're in a Google district and you need to write a lesson plan, and that needs to include some Google accessibility resources. So they can go out and they can look at Google accessibility and find some of those there. And isn't that a great thing, though? And, because they can kind of turn students loose to be able to go out and, and empower them to be able to do their, to be able to learn without having to depend on somebody else. They can sit and use a device and be able to translate or do voice typing or whatever it might be. So I think it could really, I think this could be a very good opportunity for us to let our students kind of start thinking at a level that I don't know that all K-12 teachers necessarily think about, in that a lot of times, I know when I was in K-12, they always thought about IEP, I've got to deal with IEP, but we need to shift that thinking to, accessibility for everybody, and taking the tools that are out there and utilizing those to help us, be able to learn even better, faster, quicker, whatever. I know, like for me, I was saying earlier that, sometimes when I'm writing, I type and it flows great. And then other times I feel like I just get stuck. And so when I actually speak it, it works better. And that could work for all of us. When you guys are writing papers, you're doing research and you're writing think about being able to do dictation. You can just do that. You can pull up voice typing or dictation in Word and be able to speak it and just sit back and, not have to do this number like we're doing for hours, right? So yeah, it's I think it's a game changer for all of us, really. So
I'll just add one comment, and then I'll give someone else opportunity to talk. I think the handouts that you show at the beginning, there's 3 levels: engagement, representation, and creation. So action, creation. So I think that would be great for students to think about this as curriculum planning, instruction, as well as assessment.
Absolutely.
So for the differentiation piece, they'll say they have different ways for students to express themselves, to demonstrate their understanding. So that's what I think that will be so helpful for their lesson planning. At TP, they had to emphasize this a lot. Wow. But even without TP, they still have to show they have an ability to put this into their planning, instruction, assessment in terms of supporting learners, different kind of learners, all learners. This is very helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I popped the guide, the guide that I showed you that had the 3 the 3 principles.
Yes, I see it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's there. So you can click on that, download it. It's a PDF, and then you can, have that. And can the chart be shared separately? What do you mean, Ethel? I'm not sure what you mean. There's the link to it. You can just copy that, or I can email it to you if that's what you're asking me for.
Yes. Could you email it to me, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Absolutely.
And